National Exam Hot Sheet, page 9. The typical section subdivisions. It shows 160 acres for the northwest 1/4. It shows 640 acres total. I believe that's what that was for. An acre is 43,560 square feet. So how many square feet are in a quarter section? So you go 160 multiplied by 43,560 equals 600. Because that's a quarter of a section. What section is directly south of 14? Hmm. 23. Be sure you know how to draw the government rectangular survey map. Local or state subdivision law / ordinances determine requirements to subdivide land. Subdivisions must be approved by local government and a plat must be recorded before building permits can be issued. Life estate. Property goes back to the grantor when the recipient dies. The benefit of ownership in severalty is flexibility in making decisions. Liquidity. Real estate is considered a long-term investment, so a disadvantage of owning real estate is liquidity. If the deed condition of a qualified estate is broken, the original grantor can sue for breach of deed condition to have the property returned to them. Blue laws are used in some states to prohibit sales of liquor and other items on Sunday. This is an example of a deed condition. If the type of ownership was defeasible fee, what would happen if the use of the property was prohibited? Answer: it could revert to the grantor. All easements transfer with the property unless the holder releases the easement. The holder is not the owner of the servient property that is being sold. Easements do not become adverse possession. Easements by prescription or terminate upon sale. Utility easement, easement in gross, in parentheses, continues to remain, cannot be terminated. Page 10. Title commitment shows current owner and encumbrance. Abstract shows ownership all the way back to original conveyance. Tenancy in common. Interests are not shown on the deed. The parties would have equal interests. Tenancy in common, the owner's interest passes to their heirs. Testate. Subordination is to change lien property, for example, a mortgage. PSI has used subrogation instead of subordination in the past. When a property that has tenants goes under contract, the seller is responsible for making sure the tenant vacates. If there is a break in the chain of title, a quiet title suit will be used to clear the cloud. Land use controls and regulations. Current property tax rates for newly purchased homes are based on the most recent assessment, not the sales price. The requirement to have a 2-car garage when building is an example of covenants, conditions, and restrictions, CC&Rs. If a buyer receives information that the land they are purchasing may have condemnation issues, but no suit has been filed, should contact the condemning authority. Make property uses either commercial or residential, or setback regulations is an example of zoning or local ordinance. A will testate would keep property from escheating to the state. Zoning and building codes would not be used for an owner proving breach of a deed condition under a qualified fee estate. An owner of a property wanting to build into the setback or frontage would request a variance. Variance. Permission obtained from zoning authorities. An exemption from the zoning ordinances. Daycare to build on vacant lots surrounded by industrial properties. To deviate from zoning laws, uses, a conditional use classification permit would be used. Police powers. Building codes are primarily designed to set standards for physical construction of buildings. Lead hazards. Paint, soil, lead pipes, not insulation. Lead base paint disclosure. The pamphlet and disclosure is required. Properties built prior to 1978. Both buyer and seller sign lead disclosure before offer is written. Phase 1, environmental site assessment. Review of records. Site inspection. Interview with owners, occupants, neighbors, and local government officials to determine potential contamination or non-compliance with environmental laws and regulations.